This podcast is sponsored by BB Makes, a family-run personalised gift company. From sports bottles to team merchandise, BB Makes has you covered. They will happily work with you to create unique designs for your perfect gift, with a wide range of products, all able to be personalised with names, quotes, pictures and much more. Head over to bbmakes.com. That's www.bebemakes.com and use the code COIS so they know that we sent you. Oh, and of course, come on you Spurs.
Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Spurs News Podcast. I am Sam. Here's Stefan.
Morning mate, how you doing?
I'm not good.
No?
No. Things aren't good. I don't know if we ought to talk about it or not because it's not good.
I mean, you can get it off your chest if you really want.
I'm gonna. I think I need to set the mood. Hang on. So this is the Spurs News Podcast. It's episode 249 of our show. But today's a dark day for me and all Spurs supporting men really. It's officially the end. Tomorrow, lovely Laura, the OnlyFans superstar of Spurs News, is she's getting married tomorrow, and whew, yeah, I'm not handling it well. Not handling it well, man.
It's going to save us money every month, though.
Oh, that's a fair point. Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's true. So all joking aside, tomorrow, lovely Laura, who runs the Instagram for Spurs News, queen of all Spurs News, is getting married. Because of that, I want to do a very special shout out to her at the start of the show. So forget the sadness. I wonder how many guys are switching this podcast off right now.
Oh, so many.
Like running from this. But yeah, it's a very special message for Laura, who listens, because I know she listens because she tells me off on a regular basis. Like, you shouldn't have said that. Do you know the last time she was on the show and there was four of us, people were convinced we were married due to the level of bickering.
Yes,
I can understand. That was quite funny. But Laura is getting married tomorrow. She's marrying an Aston Villa fan, which I'm trying not to hold that against him, but it's hard not to.
It's difficult.
It is difficult, yeah. She's getting married, so I grabbed a couple of ex-Spurs players to record messages for her, as like good luck messages. Do you want to hear one?
Oh, definitely.
Well, this is world famous superstar Gareth Bale. Oh, hello Laura, I'm Gareth Bale. I see you. Wishing you a lovely wedding and happy ever after. I'm Gareth Bale. Look you. How great was that, man?
Wow.
I know, right? Gareth Bale. And
wow.
I managed to get one of the current players as well. I managed to get Ben Davies.
No way.
I did, yeah. Here's Ben Davies. Oh, hello, it's Ben Davies here. I want to wish Laura all the best for the wedding and all the best for the future. Look you, to be the goodness, I am Ben Davies. How amazing's that?
Mate, you're like a Robbie Keane away from a full set, aren't you, really? Wow.
Wow. You mate, the next person up is Robbie Keane. No, it's not. No. I'm joking. No. Robbie Keane couldn't make it. But Gareth Bale, Ben Davies, I mean, what more could you ask for?
That's incredible.
So yeah, all joking aside, best of luck to Laura and Mr. Laura for their future at the wedding tomorrow. Yeah, All the best. Love you loads. Have a great day. And now, with all that being said, let's get into the Spurs news. Because we're 5 minutes in. We got a couple of games to talk about, so we'll kick off with Tottenham absolutely marmalising the team that you love nearly as much as Man United, and that's West Ham, when we gave them an absolute dick in a 4-1. So first of all, man, how are you doing? Were you okay? I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, are you going to be all right talking about it?
Yeah. No, I'm. Wow, what a game! What a second half.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I think we did okay the whole game. It was. I think the Brighton. I'm going to call this the Brighton anomaly from this moment on, which is if you look at our last 8 games, we've won 7 of them. And we've basically lost the second half really badly. Like we've had 1 second half that was awful, and we lost the game, which I think sums the Premier League up. Like, I think there are other leagues where you can shut off and have a shit 45 minutes, but if you're 2-0 up, you're kind of okay. I think in the Premier League, we see it time and time again. If you shut off for a few minutes, you're screwed.
You're in trouble, yeah.
So I do think it just reinforces that in the league, and it was awful, and all the players deserve nothing but grief for that second half, and I think Angie's given it to them. So off the back of that, the international break happens. We've all had this kind of anger feeling for a couple of weeks. We come back, it starts really well, and then they score. I had that pit in my stomach.
Oh, mate, the feeling, wasn't it? It was the, oh no, here we go again.
Yeah, it was just that. You know, you can kind of, bad things happen sometimes. Like, you can have these mad moments in football where just 45 minutes of absolute shite happen, and everyone's just got to go, right, shake that off. Like, that's not us. We can't let that ever happen again, but we need to shake that off and crack on. But to then go to 1-0 down to West Ham, your team, the team you love, it was difficult. West Ham and Man United, I'm just never going to let you live this down, by the way.
I know.
And for anybody listening who's perhaps joining us for the first time, and if this is the first time you're listening, you've just gone through the whole opening 5-minute Laura segment. If you're still here, thank you, because if you didn't know, if you didn't know what the hell you're talking about, that was kind of crazy. But so Stefan confided in me at one point, you know, which is so silly, that back in the day when all the Champions League was on ITV, I'm guessing the team, you know, you sort of saw Man United in Europe a lot, so I had a bit of an affection for that Man United team. And then also, and this is the worst one for me, because that one I can kind of get. But the worst one is when you turn around when West Ham were playing in the Conference League, whatever it's called, final, and you were happy they were going to win. You were supporting them.
I wouldn't go as far as supporting.
Did you celebrate them winning?
I did not celebrate.
What do you call it?
Winning. I was happy they didn't lose, but I didn't celebrate them winning.
I would like to point out to you, before we continue this conversation, we had the night this happened, it was via WhatsApp we were communicating. Which means I have a written... Yeah. Now, would you like me to read your WhatsApp out here on the show, or do you want to now admit you were pleased they won?
Oh, see, I can't remember what I put, and you can say anything.
No. I mean, I will literally.
That sounds like what I said.
I mean, I literally scrolled back to find it. I just literally typed West Ham into our chat and found all of the references to that night with me going, but they'll be fucking unbearable. They went, yeah, I know, but it's good. I like, you know, it's good for them to win it. I was like, don't try and justify this to me. So since then,
something I would say. Yeah.
So since then, it's you got to support the English team in Europe. I think was one of the other things you said to me.
Unless it's Chelsea or Arsenal, and then no.
But you see, you're applying that logic, and then you're just there supporting them. Anyway, so since then, there's been an element of banter between us over this, which I brought to the podcasts, and it's resulted in a number of messages and people emailing in, etc., enjoying this. So it's
I bet
not
do.
going away anytime soon. But when they scored, yeah, thanks. When they scored, there was that pit of the stomach. Oh, here we go again. I was delighted we made it 1-1 before our time. I mean, Kulusevski is playing out of his skin at the moment, which is great to see. Now,
I think with Kulusevski, like he said, didn't he? Like I see myself more as a 10,
yeah,
but I seem to always play on the wing.
yeah,
And in my head, I was like, yeah, but everyone sees themselves as a striker, but they end up playing left back or something. It's just one of those things in football. And then he got moved into this number 10 role, and the way he's playing there now, I'm like, oh no, he really does. He really does see himself as a number. Okay, this makes sense now.
well, I mean, he's physically
really, really well in it.
He's physically very imposing, and also the engine on him's insane. Like you look at like distance covered and stuff in games he's playing, he's ripping everyone else apart. Progressive and all these stats that go well over my head because I'm not as much of a football nerd as people think I am, but like progressive runs, final third, passing, and all this stuff. He's topping it for everything.
Yeah,
it's mad. But anyway, so he's having a great start to the season. Now in this game, I thought Maddison was playing very well. So at halftime when Madders got hooked, I was a bit like, oh, okay, surely that's an injury. No, it's definitely not an injury. Oh, bloody hell. But what it was is that the boss watching saw that Decky's on it today. Decky's got him on toast. But he's having like one go, one sit, one go, one sit. We're not quite getting the balance right. I think we had Sar, his engine, his box to box. We got this. And he was absolutely spot on. Sar came on and made a massive difference in that respect. Completely freeing Decky to be like, I'll play anywhere the hell I want then. Just find space and dominate this game. And Sar was incredible. At the end of the game, he had 100% pass rate, which is good.
Wow.
which which is for a midfielder and for someone who was making progressive passes as well. I mean, he got an assist. His through ball to Sonny was sensational. Sort of sensational. yeah.
I like that.
I'm here all week. But we then win the game 4-1, which in the second half at one point could have been 6, 7, 8. I mean, we literally ripped them apart. The one disappointing, and this is going to sound maybe a little bit, the disappointing thing for me is we did destroy them in about 10 minutes, scoring 3 goals, less than 10 minutes, I think. And we then just completely backed off. And I know
there could have been many more goals if we had carried on really.
Yeah, I mean, it was about 70 minutes, we're 4-1 up. And the thing that I think separates really, really great sides and sides that are pushing is that ability and that mentality to go, right now 5, right now 6. And we seem to really lack that. And I mean this because we had 20 minutes of that game then, which, I mean, the game was nothing. I mean, West Ham fans left. I mean, they just left en masse. The atmosphere was okay, it was good. It was just kind of like enjoying the 4-1 up. But the players just, and, when you think about the Ange Postecoglou, we don't stop. Yep. All of these messages that he's keen to drive into the team. I mean, you're not going to win a game 4-1 in the Premier League and go, well, bloody hell, that wasn't good enough. But at the same time, when you look at the situation on the pitch, in that once we went 4-1 up, it looked more likely it was going to be 4-2 than it was going to be 5-1, which is a little bit disappointing for me. Like, I would have liked to have seen the team really turn that screw then.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Maybe I'm asking too much.
Like, this whole thing with, like you say, the ads, we don't stop. But we seem to still be stopping.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was a game where it could have been 6 or 7. If they'd carried on at the same tempo, the same go.
Yeah.
Like we were ripping through them like with ease.
I mean, I will say
and stuff. Well, they were ripping through them, and it's like,
I mean, I will say we went.
Not carry on.
Sorry, mate. We went 4-1 up, and literally from the kickoff, we won the ball back and Sonny hit the post. So I mean, it could have been 5-1 very quickly. I mean, that literally hit the post and went right the way across the line. I was like,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I don't want to be critical. We won the game 4-1. I'm delighted with that because when they scored first, there was that real, oh, here we go, oh God, off the back of the Brighton game.
That and the fact that we are well aware that every time we do play West Ham at home, they seem to turn up like peak Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean...
They can be on like a 10-game losing streak, beat us 3-0, and then lose the next 7 games again.
Yeah,
it's just one of those.
Yeah, it is a game that we traditionally take very, very lightly. Now, there is a rivalry there very much on West Ham's side, which isn't meaning to be disparaging, but it is very much them hating us and them raising their game to play us, and us being like, who are you? What do you want? But
you're down the road, but you're not really a rival.
But because of that intensity they bring to that game, they have got the better of us a number of times, especially recently at our ground. So it is pleasing that we put them to bed. Like 4-1, get back in your lane. We'll keep doing our thing. You go back to the championship again. But yeah, so it's interesting. Yep. It's interesting the perspective on it because I felt at 4-1 this could be 5-6-7, but then within a few minutes it was like, oh, it's just not going to be. We're settling for this, which is fine.
Yeah.
We scored those goals a bit later in the game. We win 4-1. Perhaps I'm not saying this, but it just felt like that was an opportunity to really destroy them, which I feel like perhaps we still need that. We still need something there, like a mentality of like, okay, we're 4-1 up. Why not 5? Why not 6? Why not 7? Now, they talk about it like, we keep going. We do keep trying to score the goals. But in that instance, I did feel like we backed off. So, but yeah, no, I mean, you can't not be happy with it, really. It's beating West Ham 4-1, and we got another London derby. I mean, they come practically every week nowadays.
They do see that. Yeah, the term London derby, when you look at Palace and Brentford and all that being up there, it does now seem to be a lot more.
Yeah.
Of them.
Yeah, seems to be pretty constant. But yeah, so that's the West Ham game. We have a few people have messaged in, so let's move across now to questions from the listeners.
Now it's time for your comments from our social media.
Now we're going to start on Facebook. We do have one from Instagram, but it's just the one. So we're going to start on Facebook, and we have let me just get this here. Peter Robinson. Peter Robinson says, I had one, but I can't remember it with regards to questions. Do you think that do you think that Big Ange is more to dares to do than some of our fans? I really hope the board and the fans stick with him. Just bought Vince Ruggeri's book Ange Ball and looking forward to reading it. Peter is brilliant. I got it and it's really interesting insight. Peter then added, oh, and I really hope that Timo Werner turns the corner and finds confidence and self-belief again, just to stick one on all the doubters. We'll circle back to that. But yeah, so the question, do you think Ange is more to dares to do than some of our fans? It's a great question.
That is a good question. I think Ange is incredibly confident in his style, in what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
And that I love. I love the fact that he has that. It's not even like, it's just a pure belief, like, yeah. I know this is going to work. And if you guys buy into this, it's going to work.
Yeah.
And I think at club, we speak a lot about the mentality and the winning mentality and everything behind the Tottenham. And I know that last week or the week before we spoke about the Spursy thing and all that.
Yeah.
And I think you need a manager that is genuinely like, no, it's going to work.
Yeah.
Like, you just buy into this, and trust me, it works.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I am very happy he has that, and I think he is probably a little bit more than the fans are.
Yeah.
You know, all you need to do is keep looking at this. Oh, no plan B, no plan B, and it's like, no, because I know plan A works.
Well, the discussion over Plan B, it's like one of my kind of nails on a chalkboard for me.
Yep.
Because it's the definition of what Plan B is bringing Sauron from Madison a Plan B.
Exactly, he changed the game completely.
Yeah, so I find it a weird conversation. But yeah, I think Peter is fair. I think he is. I think some of our fans have bought into this weird. I mean, we basically got gaslit by Jose Mourinho and Conte into believing we're shit and we don't deserve nice things, and like they're amazing and we're crap. And because they're amazing, everything we do is crap, and this club's rubbish without me. And I think there's too many people in the fans who have just bought into that, have just been like, oh no, we're so shit. We can't even win things with two of the best coaches ever. Well, I think their attitude didn't help. But
massively. They did. They came into the club to boost themselves, not the club.
Yeah. So the next one is Tom Perks says, it's been a rather eventful first 8 games. However, to be positive, we are the second top scorers in the league, conceded the third fewest goals, yet we lie 7th. But we are 8 points behind Liverpool. Is it safe to say we cannot win the league this season? Could we?
No, we couldn't. Could we?
I mean, we're not going to, but we could. No. that was fun. Mathematically, no. Sensibly, yes. 8 points can vanish in a week in this league. But at the same time, I don't think. I don't think logically, based on the start we've had, that we'd be contending for the title unless everyone else has a mad month where they just lose, and so it brings us back into it, but then that'd bring everyone back into it. I don't see it. I mean, it is going to be an odd season because of the Manchester City case anyway, so that's kind of like looming over it, which is like at any point Man City could suddenly drop down the table.
Or divisions, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a strange one, and it's a kind of, I mean, Liverpool are doing well, but I said this in our group chat the other day, I'm not convinced by them yet, and I don't know why. Like, you look at all the results and everything, and they're flying. They're playing slot ball. He's doing great, and they're doing well. But every time I've watched them, and it's been a few times now, I've just been like, I don't know. They don't look as amazing to me, or like 1 or 2 injuries or 1 or 2 bad results. It'd be interesting to see how they cope with that. But anyway, yeah. So no, I don't think we're going to win the title this season. I'm sorry to say. I do think, however, that we have the ability in the side and the squad depth to compete in the Europa and the Premier League, and so I'm still hoping that we can push towards that top 4 position and continue our progression. But there's so much quality in this league that it is very difficult to say.
Yeah.
The next question is from Steve Brockway, who says, the Bill Nick statue with the gates, what is happening? For those of us who are older and love this man, is extremely disappointing. I assumed it would be commissioned soon after the opening of the new stadium. More pressure needs to be brought to bear on this, in my opinion. The last time I saw anything written about this, it was basically along the lines of the club have it all in like the museum and everything, and they wanted to create something special with it, and they were looking to get like planning permission to do something, but it's all gone very quiet. I mean, you're right. It was kind of like one of those things. It's like, yeah, we're going to do this. This is going to be a big part of the stadium. I think the main reason why it's gone quiet is they've switched focus to. They got awarded. The stadium's going to be used for one of the venues for the European Championships, and they kind of switched focus immediately to this hotel development, which I think was kind of part of the not the deal for the state, but kind of part of the package that they agreed as like, hey, look, we got great accommodation in the area, all this kind of thing, come on, use Tottenham.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what's happened, but I tell you what, I will reach out to a couple of journalists who are very, very good on these subjects and see if they've got an update or see if they can ask the question. And if I get a response, regardless of what it is, I'll talk about it on here. And lastly, Ryan Miller says, what are your thoughts on Werner's contribution to the team? Last season, I thought it was very clever loan by Spurs, but it isn't being replicated for me this season. Yeah, that's fair. It's definitely not.
That's very fair. Yeah.
Last season, he contributed really well. This season, he just really isn't. He's really struggling. Me and you have very different mindsets on this.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
You just want to call him shit.
I was very, very happy that we had him last season. I was very excited by signing him last season. He was a player who I genuinely thought would do a lot of good for us, and did.
Yeah.
The problem I have is that in the summer, I was very hopeful that we would then sign a next level up sort of player.
Yeah.
We didn't. We brought him back on loan, which we had a deal there to be able to sign him. We also had a deal there to be able to loan him again. Like it seemed like we didn't take up the option to buy him, and we just had to loan him again.
Yeah.
Which kind of made me go a bit like, well, if you want him that much, surely you just pay the small fee and buy him. But we didn't. But that's that.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't massively excited by him re-signing. I thought he did well last season, and the stuff he did last season was good. But I wanted better this season. And then we re-signed him, and I wasn't massively excited, but thought, okay, we'll see. And I don't know what happened over the summer, but it's like he went and got hypnotised, and they forgot how to play football. Like, I don't understand what has happened over his confidence. Like, he had an opportunity last night where you just put your foot through it on target and he scored, and he kind of side foot 5-yard passed it into the keeper's hands. It was like, what? Yeah. What has happened? Yeah.
So
I don't get excited if I see his name on this team sheet. That's one of those things.
With me, it's a difficult thing. So I can look at players definitely and say he's really struggling. I think he's really, really struggling. One of my, I think everyone's guilty of this because I know I've certainly done it in the past, but I'm trying to be a bit more conscious of it now. This is a Premier League European footballer who has played at the highest level. I don't think we can call him shit. Like, this isn't Sunday League. This isn't like a guy who's 10 stone overweight trying to play up front. It's laughable. This is a guy who's...
That felt very personal.
This guy...
I felt like you attacked me on that one.
No. My point is, he isn't shit. And I think every time someone just goes, oh, for fuck's sake, he's shit or anything like that, it's so lazy in this kind of, like, take of someone. And also, we're fans, we're supporters... I don't like in the stadium you can hear like this like this kind of like, oh, I just want him to score, like, come on, like, you're nearly there. But like, you look at last night, and I said about this, about really fine margins. He put in probably the best cross of the night twice last night, and the first one, Mikey Moore completely shat the bed. And if you reversed that was Mikey Moore putting that exact same cross and Werner did that, people would be screaming blue murder how shit it was, the finish. So let me just say the Mikey Moore conversations come in, massive upside, but he fucked that completely. He should have scored. 100% should have scored.
He was deers in the headlight, wasn't he? That cross came in, it was deer in the headlights. I'm like, oh shit.
It was a fantastic delivery. All he had to do was, I mean, it literally was a tap in with his head. And if he's playing in the academy, he scores that every single time. But it was early on, European night at the stadium, and he, shut the bed and messed it up. But when I'm talking about fine margins and confidence in a player, Mikey Moore scores that, then that is a phenomenal assist. Like, that cross, he would then, like, Werner then is, you know, you feel that much better, don't you? You're taller, you're feeling more, finally, you know, something came off. something worked for me. And again, fine margins. He goes through. Now, he has been scuffing his shots. He has been, you know, gone through and somehow skying it. So when he goes through that time, you can almost hear his thoughts like, just get it on target. Just get it on target. Do you know what I mean? It's like his brain's just going, don't fucking sky this. Don't smash it past the post. Just get it on target. And because he's done that so much, like, he's then just basically tapped it to the keeper. And you can see on his face, like, oh, for fuck, what am I doing? But he's so in his head, you could see it. Like, he goes through and you're like, oh, no. It's like, please just let it go in. Like, let the keeper screw this up. Just give it to the guy. But like I said, fine margins in that game last night. The player who is shit, quote unquote, from God knows how many of our fans, could have scored one, got an assist. And if he got that assist earlier, maybe his confidence would have been there when he went through and could have scored. So, I mean it. It's like fine margins in this. But what I want to see is the fans, if he is going to come on and play for us, whether he's coming off the bench, whether he's starting in Europe or the League Cup, I want to see the fans really back him, because he's someone that has all the pace and he has the ability. You can't cross a ball like that if you're shit. You can't. It doesn't exist.
In our WhatsApp group, I did make a bit of a flippant comment about how it was great that we've got a sprinter on the wing. I know. But no, it was a great ball in, and he has. I think this is what frustrates me and why I don't get excited at the moment, is the fact that I know that, like that cross, I know he can do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we were 1-0 down in, like, you know, the 85th minute.
Yeah, he's not someone you want to bring on. And that ball gets
played through and he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper.
Yeah, you don't back him to score ever. Yeah. I mean,
and that's the biggest problem I've got.
It's massive. It's a massive issue.
I back to score.
No. You're absolutely right. And look, I am not defending his form in any way, shape, or form. He is so out of form. It's ridiculous. It's awful. But it's also at the point, like, it's almost sad to see. Like, I feel like someone, like an arm round him, not a kind of kicking in the ass. For me, like right now, like, he got hooked at half time last night in Europe, and he got hooked on the basis that, you know, he wasn't doing well enough. And Ange said afterwards, oh, he's really struggling with his confidence. We got Brennan on the bench, who was like friggin' Mr. Confident right now. So it made sense to make the switch. Now, Ange is freaking ruthless, because if you think about that, he's basically said he's really struggling with his confidence right now, and because of that, he's crap. So you know what I mean? So I brought him off. But Ange is right. He's got to put the team first, and Timo will know that. But I do like the fact that Ange keeps giving him this chance. Like, go on, get out there. And he also did make a point in the press conference afterwards of, like, he could have got an assist early on, which would have changed everything for him. Yeah. So, you know, and there's also, and I don't think it's deliberate, but I do think a little bit around punditry, especially in commentary, a young English player misses a chance, or an English player misses a chance. Oh, that was unlucky. Timo does it right now, so he's really not in good form, is he? It's like, it's really bad. Or Richie, another one. Think about the kind of narrative around Richarlison at one point when he couldn't hit a barn door. You know, that was very similar. It was like, every time he missed, it was, you pay that money for a striker and he just can't score. I do think Timo Werner, I think he's a likeable chap. I think he's someone who around the squad, they obviously liked having him around. That's why they've kept him around. I think if he could find the confidence and somehow get that in a game where, so let's say for a game, I mean, it rarely happens for Tottenham, by the way, but let's say we're 3-0 up, 10 minutes left, you bring him on, the game's a bit stretched or something, and he gets in and scores. That could be a massive difference maker, you know what I mean? It's like, something needs to happen well for him, but we as a team currently cannot rely on him in, like you said, if we're 1-0 down and you look to the bench and he's your option, we got a problem at the minute.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, and the ball that went through, like that ball that put him through 1-on-1.
Yeah,
you're sitting there and you're like, that deserves a goal. Like that ball through deserved
it was
finish.
excellent.
You know, it was such a ball.
Yeah,
and you're like, you get that little bit of like, oh, why is that not falling to Son? Or someone like.
I mean, massively. But I mean, again, but then on the flip side, I've seen Son scuff those.
We've seen Son miss some fantastic
I've
chances.
Seen Kane miss some chances, which I mean, the funny thing with Kane is when he used to miss, you genuinely got this reaction in the stadium like, huh? What?
What?
No. The ball must have deflated in front of him or something. There's no way he missed that, so...
The whole stadium's really jumped up and cheered, and then they're all looking around going,
it is utter confusion, which I mean is a drastic difference. Yeah, Kane would miss and everyone would just look baffled, and Werner scores and everyone would look baffled. I do think it's one of those players at the minute, I do genuinely think if he scored, they'd flag it offside or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's luck.
Yeah.
Or he'd be like, oh, he's been put through. This is amazing. Oh, VAR. No!
No, you bastard. Yeah.
So it does feel like that for him at the minute. But I want to try and I know like we're chatting privately or whatever, and you can say this stuff, and we had loads of messages come in just literally Timo shit. That was literally all it is. But I want to try and this is from me personally, I want to try and get this. Okay, I don't think any player has reached this level can be described as shit. I mean, Ange said it in a press conference a few weeks ago, which is why it's kind of stuck with me. So I don't think we can do that. I think what we need to do is look at this and go, he is not playing well right now. And sometimes when players are like that, you sit them on a bench, give them a bollocking, and that's what fires them. Other ones, you need to put your arm around them and be like, don't worry, we believe in you, get out there. And I just think sometimes as fans, supporters, it's kind of almost forgotten the support aspect. Like, we need to support our players through rough patches, not, you're crap, leave my club, which seems to be the overriding sentiment, especially online. I don't think it's so much in the stadium, but online it's pretty toxic as fuck. So we do have a question I'm delighted to say, because it's October. It's pretty grey here. I don't know what it's like for you. It's a bit cold, a bit miserable.
Mate, it's fog. I can't even see the buildings opposite. It's awful.
There you go. So let's liven it up, because we've got a question on our Instagram from Island Brother.
Now it's time for a comment from Island Brother.
Everyone have a little dance. I don't care where you are. If you're on the tube listening, in your office, have a little dance. Okay, so the message from Island Brother reads, hello, hello, hello. Firstly, I do not know if I'm ahead of time or in time or late, so I'll cover all. To Laura, good luck on your happy day. Hope you're enjoying your happy day. Hope you've had a happy day. Nice.
Brilliant. Yep.
He just did basically the Truman Show thing. Hello to you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. He says, I hope your union is a long and fruitful one. What a great sentence that is. I like that. On to Spurs. Why are there so many fans happily thinking that Maddison was taken off and will never play ahead of Decky again? Am I dense? Is it not a good thing that we have a bench, interchangeable and different players to throw on to change situations? Please let me know, and come on you Spurs. I don't think he's dense. I think he's pretty spot on, really.
I mean, I think he's probably pretty hinged. The Island Brother seems like a big kind of works out a lot, so I'd say he's hinged. Definitely not dense.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's right. I think you're right. I don't think there seems to be this big thing online at the moment. That's it now. Maddison. I saw a few times last night. Maddison can't play 90 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like,
I will.
why
will.
can't he play 90 minutes?
Yeah,
Is there anyone
Yeah.
telling you why?
I mean,
Or
I
is it
will.
just
I
you've
will
decided?
say that it's become a thing that I'm noticing that he always gets hooked. Which isn't in my mind that he's unable to play 90 minutes. I think Ange is like, okay, you've done your job, off you come. But I'm yeah. Son is the same. Under Ange, he seems to hook them all the time. Like they don't finish the games, which is weird. I don't know why it happens, but it does, and I don't know why I've noticed, but I have. So
I like to think it's just a case of he's like, yeah, you've done what I need you to do,
yeah,
and that's done. Thank you very much. And now let's let the next person come on who, fresh legs on the wing. So Son's run himself into the ground. Off you come Son, on comes someone else who's going to do the job. Finish the match off, run them off the ground. I like that. That's fine. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Adam, and to be honest with you, we kind of touched on this earlier on. The change for Sarr and Maddison worked brilliantly. It adjusted our system slightly, and or the personnel and the way we played in our system, and you saw the benefits. So yeah, perhaps was it a plan B? Or perhaps C, D? Probably a plan F.
Maybe.
For your opinion. So I agree. It's an odd take, but again, I think this comes back to this kind of instant overreaction of social media, which is like, oh my god, he's sub so-and-so's now shit. It's like, no, that's not how that works. Oh my god, he's brought on so-and-so and he misplaced the pass instantly. He's shit as well. And you're like, oh. I mean, he's literally just come off the bench. Maybe give him a minute.
Give him a couple of minutes.
Maybe let him just get to the pace of the game. No, he fell over. He's a wank. All right, fair enough. Yeah, yeah. That's how this works. Fair enough. We did play in the Europa League last night. We beat AZ Alkmaar 1-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It was a good. I mean, we made massive changes, and that gives me an instant hernia feeling. Like, oh no, don't do this to me again. But everyone played well. I mean, there were certainly moments where you went, oh, what are you doing? Or especially, like, Ben, like, I'm going to say this with all the greatest respect in the world to the people I'm talking about, okay? Fraser Forster, Ben Davies, and a little bit Dragusin, but you could see once he's kind of, I think he was just really on edge because the last time he got a red card. I think you could see that a little bit. But Ben Davies and Fraser Forster certainly are not what I would class as the modern play it out from the back style players. Is that fair? Do you think that's fair? Like, fair. Fraser Forster is a shot-stopping goalkeeper. He isn't a footballing goalkeeper, which is kind of the Vicario mould and the modern keeper. I think that's fair. I don't think I'm being rude there.
No, I would say that is fairly that is fair. Yeah, he's old school goalkeeper.
I'm watching us consistently play it around at the back, like, come on, Forster, be a sweeper. I didn't like that. I must admit, there was one moment where Fraser Forster had to come out and sweep up, and I felt for his hips at that moment. Like, he like, is he okay now? Like, is he still in the ice bath? Like, someone needs to check on him today. Maybe get his mobility scooter for him, because like that was ridiculous that we did that to him.
That was a bit much. Yeah, that was quite a run for him.
It was shocking that they made him do that. But I mean, he had a great game. I just want to say that, because I'm only making these jokes because he did well. So
yeah,
but
he made some fantastic saves.
I just want to point out that Gray, he's 18 years old. You have no right being that confident, you cocky little shit. Like, I'm sorry. Every time he got the ball, he's like, doesn't matter where he is on the pitch. He's like, yeah, I'll just play my game. I mean, yeah, phenomenal, but mate, come on. Just like, you're killing me. He came on against West Ham at one point, and he picked the ball up in the box and like knocked it across our own penalty area to beat someone. I was like, oh, okay. You're one of them. All right, I get it.
I love that. I love that confidence. Like he's so young.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, but it shows the faith in the kind of like play your game, be you, like you're okay. He had a very good game at right back. Destiny Doggy played at left back, and he for me at the moment has suffered a few times of a little bit lapses of concentration, and he did it a couple of times last night. And I don't know whether someone said something to it. Someone on Twitter reckons Ben Davies got right at him at one point. He did something in the first half where he just gave them loads of space. Or he was acting like the ball was going out and their player just took it. You know what I mean? He was like, he kind of switched off and their player took the ball and got across it. And someone said Ben Davies got like right at him. And then within a few minutes, Destiny kind of went in for like a double challenge and was like, oh, Jesus, he meant that. And everyone, so yeah, I think perhaps he needed a bit of a slap last night from Ben, gentle Ben.
Gentle Ben with a, will you sort that shit out?
Yeah. You know, when it comes to playing left back at the, at Premier League, European, Europa level, Ben's kind of the expert. So, I think he gave him a bit of a set to, and that sorted him out. So, overall, I was really impressed. I thought Bentancur played well. Decky came on, played well. I thought Madison had a phenomenal game, both in terms of being the captain, leading, but just he was beating people. He was some great passing of the ball. Just generally, I was really blown away by it. But I think the headline maker, if you like, and the kind of all anyone really wanted to talk about when they left the stadium last night was Mikey Moore.
Mate, he was like the confidence. We were saying about the confidence that Gray has on the ball.
Yeah.
The confidence. Mikey Moore is demanding the ball off of players that are 10 years his senior.
Yep. Yeah.
He is demanding that ball. Like, come on, give me the ball.
So, I mean, you want to stay grounded and stuff like that, and then you get, after the game, you get James Maddison saying from the 45th minute to the 65th minute, it was like we had Neymar out there.
That was brilliant. Yeah, what a line.
I mean,
no pressure, kid.
I mean, I think it's really important that people keep this in perspective. Like, he's a really, really great player. Like, he's a phenomenal player, but there's no way Neymar's as good as Mikey Moore.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
17-year-old Neymar, do I even remember him? No.
A little bit. Yeah. You used to sign him on Football Manager. I remember you telling me you discovered him.
I did. It's still my claim to fame is that I signed him on Football Manager for Spurs before Barcelona signed him.
Real life. Yeah. So I was. Anyone who's watched him play in the academy will be feeling really quite delighted today, because everyone's now seen what we've seen. And also, you see so many players come through the academy and stuff who look like rabbit in the headlight, generally get shy away. They don't do what they do at that level, at the senior level, and they kind of fade away. With this kid, you're kind of hoping that's not going to be the case, and it's not. He showed last night, but he did it on a stage as well where there were a lot of European football writers at the game last night. And I saw a lot of people, a lot of Spurs fans retweeting these writers, basically like, who the and it was just this overwhelming, OMG, who is this kid? And one football writer said, he reminds me of a 16, 17-year-old Wayne Rooney at Everton. And I was like, oh, wow, that's insanely high praise.
That really, he has that kind of just pure belief in himself. Like, he wanted the ball. He was, I'm going to make things happen.
Yeah, and he can. And what is interesting to me is, like we were talking about Timo Werner earlier on and stuff like that. With that performance in that second half on the left-hand side, I think, for me anyway, if you've got Sonny starting there, your backup now is Mikey Moore.
Yep.
I think Odegaard coming back from injury, I mean, he looked good when he came on. But I think when you got a performance like that, because I remember he was a lot older, of course, but Harry Kane found his Tottenham form in the Europa League. he started scoring goals in the Europa League, and then they gave him a chance in the Premier League, and that was it. That was all she wrote. Away his career.
Completely. Yep.
And so you look at him getting this opportunity. He started last night, had a quiet start to the game. They switched him to the left when Timo went off, and he really got in the game then. And like Madison said, for that, until they doubled up on him, because they did, he had him on toast. He could have. I think probably could have created 2 or 3 goals if. There was one that Johnson was trying everything to get on the end to. It was probably, like he was breaking his neck to get there. He was so close, like that. But the interesting thing is, I think the more the team plays with him, the more you're going to realise he is going to get the ball in. Because when you see him running against 2-3 defenders, you're like, okay, the kid's running down the cliff. Oh no, he beat him. Shit,
There was one. He came on. He switched over onto the left.
Yeah.
And he got the ball, and it was kind of like there was like 3 players in front of him. And you're like, okay, so he'll keep up. Oh my god, he's had a shot. What?
Yeah, he just went for it. Yeah,
there was 3 players between him and the box, and he still got in the box, cut it back, and took a shot across goal that was damn close.
Yeah, he is. He's not. Okay. He backs himself, and he will back himself to beat players. He'll back himself to score. He will be disappointed with that header in the opening few minutes. He will be very disappointed, and his mentality is that he will probably go in the training today and be like, "I need to work on that. Like that needs fixing."
Yep.
Which is why everyone in the club talks so highly about him, because it's not just he's got natural ability. He is always wanting to improve, always wanting to progress. So there's a real player there, and it's a real opportunity, and I'd like to see him get minutes in the Premier League more, and I'd like to see him obviously start games, Europa, League Cup, etc., and see where we go. But this season, he's a special talent, and you don't want to get too carried away. But at the same time, he's the best player in the world ever, Ballon d'Or incoming.
Oh, definitely. Yep.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
He will make us forget who Gareth Bale was. He's definitely going to be.
He did a message for Laura. That was nice of him.
He did, didn't he? Yes.
Yeah, I remember him. He sounds a lot like Ben Davis, I think. Must just be that they're both Welsh, I guess.
Something along those lines, I reckon, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And they both sounded like Tom Jones. Weird. Anyway, Chris...
Where it came from.
Tom Jones. Oh, hello. Did you ever watch that? This is such a tangent. Did you ever watch The Voice?
The Voice, I very rarely.
All right. So anyone listening who didn't watch it, this is going to be weird, but anyone who did, you'll know what I mean by this. So Tom Jones is a judge on The Voice, right? The basic premise of The Voice: you got 4 celebrity coaches or whatever. They're on a chair facing away from the person singing, so they can't see who's singing. And if they like the voice, they hit their button, their chair turns around, right? Yep. So the idea is you're listening to the voice, you're not looking at not just the pretty thing or whatever. So Tom Jones is on there, and basically every single episode he'd come out with some anecdote, like just name drop, like a son of a... He was like, oh, of course I was singing this song once with Elvis, and everyone's like, for fuck, how old are you, man?
Yeah.
And so just whenever I hear like Tom Jones, I was singing with Elvis, I was doing this, and it's like, oh, Gareth Bale, I was talking there with Elvis. Yeah. Anyway, right, moving on. Our next game is another London derby where we travel to Selhurst Park and we play Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace away is one of those fixtures that's like, ugh, but I'm delighted it's not an evening kickoff. Evening kickoffs at Selhurst Park are a bitch. But we play them on Sunday afternoon. How are you feeling about this one? Because Crystal Palace have been getting slagged off a lot in the media at the moment, which always makes me nervous when I'm playing a team.
100. So, Crystal Palace last season, when the new manager came in, they bounced. Like,
big
you
time.
get the new manager bounce and stuff, but they really bounced.
Yeah.
Like, that was insane. Like, their results and everything, they beat Liverpool, City. I think they drew to someone else. Like, they really got some great results at the end of the season. And I thought this season they'd be right up there, and yet they've not won a game yet, which always makes me think, Dr. Tottenham will see you.
Sorry, just to clarify, you said they've not won a game yet?
This season, I don't think they've won a game. They've lost every game this season, I think.
I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure it's like them, Ipswich, and I think it's been Ipswich haven't won a game yet.
I mean, I've been so kind of focused on us. I will admit that I've kind of let my overall ball knowledge of the season go, oh shit, they've not won a game, man. They've
Give me
played
a sec.
8.
I'm looking it up.
No, I've got it. They've played 8, they've drawn 3, lost 5.
Yeah.
Why does that fill me with more dread?
Tottenham. Dr. Tottenham will see you now.
Yeah, why does that fill me with just dread? Like, there's no part of me like, 3 points in the bag. I'm just like, oh, we're going to lose.
I think that is called just being a Tottenham fan.
When does that stop? Like, what? At what point? Because under
4 teams, bloody hell, there's 4 teams that haven't won a game. That's insane. Yeah. Sorry.
Premier League. Someone said the other day, I think it might have been Gary Neville, that he thinks the Premier League need to look at this because currently there is the gulf between the Premier League and the Championship's always been quite a step, but currently there's starting to become a gulf between the top of the Premier League and the bottom.
Yeah.
And that would suggest he's correct. 4 teams. Picked up
Leicester
a win
City
yet.
came up. They've got 2 wins, but yeah, Ipswich none, Crystal Palace none, Southampton none, Wolverhampton Wanderers have been destroyed 7 times. Bless them.
I don't know where to go with that. So yeah, now I know they've not won a game yet. I'm terrified. I'm now convinced we're going to rock up at Selhurst Park and get bent over and spanked hard. Do you remember when that guy I don't talk about was our manager and we won the first 3 games and then we went there and lost 3-0?
Yes.
Not only did we win the first 3 games, we hadn't conceded a goal. One of those wins being over Man City. We won 3 games. I think we won 3 games 1-0 or something like that.
That was it, I think, yeah.
And then we went there and lost 3-0 to Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
That guy's such a... Do you know what? I've not played this in a while.
But yeah, it should be a good game. I am confident that the team playing as they are at the moment.
You talked all over Nuno.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you should be. People want to listen though, so shush.
We don't talk about no.
Okay, now you can talk.
Okay, that literally, I didn't even hear that. It didn't even come through. I was too busy talking. I do apologise.
You should, yeah. Apologise, good.
I do apologise. I'm confident. The way we're playing at the moment, I'm confident.
Okay, man. So your prediction?
3-1 Spurs.
3-1 Spurs. Oof. Nice, yeah. So, I mean, we are playing well. We had the Brighton anomaly in the second half. That aside, we're what? 8 games, 7 wins out of our last 8. And basically just one really bad second half. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, logically, everything says we're going to win the game. So, I'm going to go 2-1 Palace. Okay, that is our show. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody for listening, as always. We will be back next week. Now, next week's a bit of a strange episode. I say strange. It's going to be our 250th episode of the podcast, which is kind of insane.
That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah. So 250 episodes. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but there's probably going to be something stupid. I don't know. I'll come up with something in the week, which will mark episode 250. But yeah, big thank you to everybody for listening, especially if you've listened to 249 so far, because wow, you got a sense of humour. But yeah, we will be back next week and hopefully talking about a victory over Crystal Palace. Until then, everybody, you all take care.
And come on, you Spurs.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.